This is Insanity.
They play a really good mix between like the modern tune.
They actually have money to buy a radio.
I think we got a show to do.
And wave my arms around, hoping for the light to come on.
It's like a thing where you play music and you talk a little bit and then your family pretends to listen and then they really don't.
Long week in the office, or you've been stressing about exams.
This is Insanity Radio 103.2 FM.
Welcome. We are here. Well, I am here. This is Big Thoughts and Small Talk, Insanity Radio 103.2. I am joined in the studio by Franklin and Joe. Boys, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Thomas Franklin.
Thomas. Well, I mean, not
call me Tom.
Not Franklin the Turtle.
No, that's a stain that's been on my reputation since like year 3.
And Joe, introduce yourself.
I am Joe Combs, and I'm a steadfast friend of the both of you.
Yes,
you are. I don't really
are.
have much else to say.
Well, I mean, you could probably put in a plug for the Tory Society since we're all part of
well,
that.
I might as well. Franklin's been a bit shy, but he is the campaigns officer.
Yeah, the most political one here, so I should be the most like overt about like buy membership.
Yeah, no, and I am the vice president of the society. So.
Ooh, we are honoured to have you in our presence. Well, today, listeners, we are having our Country and Western special, but the topic of today is entertainment. What is it? Is it good? Is it good nowadays compared to when we were growing up as kids? Or are we all, slowly falling into a pit of despair, which is just filled with CalArts animation and just horrible terrible CGI. I mean, if you've seen, have any of you seen the new Predator film?
No.
No, I've heard mixed reviews about it.
The mixed reviews are probably lies. It was horrible. There was one specific scene. They might clean it up with like the DVD and Blu-ray release, but in the theater, it looked like an MS Paint job. It was horrible. That's talking about reboots and all that. What do you guys think? Are you guys down with the whole reboot culture that we're having, or where we're just having constant sequels of?
Well, it's either reboots or it's badly adapting every comic story under the sun.
That's true. What are the upcoming sort of projects now? I mean, I know Spider-Man: Far From Home is just wrapped up filming.
I'm so looking forward to that. I loved Homecoming.
Homecoming was
big
good.
on Marvel. I love Marvel.
Of course you are.
I'm just so basic.
You
I'm
are.
just waiting for a good Batman film since the Nolan trilogy.
That's true. I mean, Ben Affleck. I don't mind Ben Affleck as
in Batman v Superman. He was the best thing about the movie. That
doesn't take much though, does it?
Well, yeah. You did have Jeremy Irons as Alfred, which if you're not going to have Michael Caine, that's
I mean,
it is.
His voice alone was surely enough to give it an Oscar. Like Jeremy Irons, he can talk me to sleep.
If you're listening, Jeremy Irons, that's for you.
He's also the Chancellor of Bath Spa University, actually, which is something I found out over the summer.
I went to the wrong university then.
Talking about entertainment, have you heard the rumours that Jack Ryan Season 2 has been filmed on campus?
Oh, I saw the filming on Sunday, wasn't it? Last Sunday.
I believe so.
I walked by. I thought it was. Some people thought it might be an extension of the Bollywood filming that was in summer.
Yes, I remember that.
There was another like ITV TV show that was being filmed in summer as well. I heard that from one of my friends who was staying on campus, and well. There we are. First we get Avengers, we get these two other things that I've never heard of, and now we've got another thing that I haven't seen, because was it on Amazon Prime? I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's very good. I've only watched the first 4 episodes, but it's very good. I only found out that Avengers Age of Ultron was filmed here about a week ago.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lovely little scene, but they seem to think that, Americans seem to think that every single university campus wears the black robes everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I mean I may wear the black robes, but that's because but I only wear the black robes because I want to. It's not mandatory like it is at Cambridge.
I mean, we just like to keep it classy. I mean, if we had Peter in here, he'd be in full
top hat, monocle,
Edwardian regalia.
If only it weren't for the regulations on smoking, he'd have the cigar out as well.
Who knows?
It'd be great. I
love that. Yeah. No, it would be great though. Brandy as well, sitting around. It'd be like old, imagine if podcasts were in like the 1930s. Oh, it'd be fantastic. Get Churchill on as a little guest.
I imagine I imagine that the regulations of podcasting in the 1930s was just there was nothing. You could probably get away with absolutely anything.
The things we could say.
They probably had like opium dens as radio studios.
Yeah. So how justified are the wars against the opium wars in China? Like,
Well, I mean, my pockets are lined, so I'd say it's pretty justified.
Ah, yes, another Brandy Jenkins. Yes,
brandy is sharpish. Yeah?
So, what do you think about the situation going down the Balkans? Oh, I'm sure nothing will come of it.
Of course. Well, we are moving on to our next song, a very one that's close to my heart. Love Will Turn You Around. It was on Eastbound and Down, the series, and after that I got into my Kenny Rogers sort of country western phase, which is why we're having this episode. So, we will begin soon. You are listening to Insanity Radio 103.2 FM. This is Big Thoughts and Small Talk. Welcome back. That was Country Boys Can Survive by Hank Williams Jr., the son of the oh-so-revered Hank Williams, who was also a country western artist.
You don't say.
Well, maybe the listeners need to know that little bit of trivia.
Not kind of you.
So, we are talking about entertainment here on Insanity Radio 103.2. Now, my gripe with entertainment today is particularly with cartoons and animation. I have seen a constant downhill trend in both the quality of animation itself and the quality of show writing. So think about, I think back to my childhood. Did you guys ever watch the show Justice League Unlimited?
Oh yeah.
Wish I had.
It was deep. I was watching a couple months ago. I was rewatching a few episodes because I was going through a bit of a nostalgia trip. And there is serious, political plot lines. There was one episode where Lex Luthor runs for president, and it's what happens when, Superman's arch nemesis is running and is getting the popular support for the highest office in the country. Where do you draw the line there? And the thing is that I think has happened is cartoons have gone from treating kids as sort of, mature and, still, as children, but, not hiding the realities of life from them. And now we have shows like Steven Universe or, even Adventure Time to an extent, where it's it's just this sort of shuttered, sheltered, cartoons, nothing's bad, everyone's, friendly and all that. That's my own personal opinion. What do you guys think?
There's also that, I think, new show that first season came out on Netflix or something. It's what's it called? Dragon Quest. It has a few people on it who worked on Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra, and the animation, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's a sort of weird, kind of borderline CGI, borderline hand-drawn, and it can be very clunky in places. You've got sort of somewhere someone looks up and it's done in 4 frames. It's it's really janky.
No, yeah, I've noticed that trend. And if you're listening and you hear some bumps on the radio, that is the SU. They've started their club tune, so the bass is booming, and we're getting a bit of the reverberation here. So do mind that.
Don't worry, you're not missing any good music.
Well, yes,
yeah, all the good music's here.
Exactly.
Good music is always here.
Yeah. Yeah, just remember, if you're in-house listening to the Insanity Radio at 23 minutes past 10, country music, where there are people out getting drunk, having fun.
It's Friday night. This is what
Friday night.
I didn't even know if people were listening, but to the dedicated and loyal listeners who are tuning in, thank you very much. You are doing us a service, and I hope that we are returning the favor. Yeah. So back to cartoons. Is there any shows that you've sort of seen that you like or don't like?
Well, if I may, briefly offer a contrary opinion here.
Please do.
Well, always the devil's advocate.
Well, when you think about it, when you're thinking about the cartoons from your childhood, that's a period of, what shall we say, from the age of 4, 6 till you're about 15, 16. 10 years, you could say?
13, 14, yeah.
That's
I'd
10
say.
years.
Let's say average
About
a
10
decade.
years, yeah.
But let's say that's 10 years, and then on top of that, you've got the shows that are being rerun, things like that. So for me, like watching Pinky and the Brain, that was first aired 2000, 2003, according to Wikipedia here, and I was watching that for ages. So you basically got a legacy of films that you're viewing. You're looking through the long period of the past, and when you're talking about films treating their viewers like adults, understanding, intelligent, that's not the sign of an older cartoon. That's a sign of a good cartoon. And what you've got, I think, is that you're looking at the cartoons today within the past. I mean, Adventure Time 2014 started.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Round about that, and then you've got the cartoons up to date 2018. You're looking at 4 years and comparing that to potentially 15, 16, 20 years worth of entertainment. You look back even further into the 80s, and you could say over the 80s till now, and then compare that to the last 10 years. You know, had good animation, cartoons, etc. So what you're doing is you're looking over a very long period and comparing that to a very short period and saying, well, cartoons doing terrible. I think it's an anachronism. You know, it's looking at the past with a lens.
Nostalgia goggles, and I get that. But one of my main problems is, do you know the Caltech art style? The sort of bean mouth, very simple, not much depth into the animation. The thing is, that's now happening across the board. Like Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans that we grew up with, awesome, very good. Teen Titans Go is just this janky animation. There's not much depth. I'm trying to think of I watched one Teen Titans Go episode and it didn't have any serious depth to it. It was Robin's going to the dentist or something. It's not actual following the plot line of the original source material. It's just
you can see it with Ben 10.
Yes.
Grew up with Ben 10. That was amazing.
Ben 10 was
Justice
great.
League style art style,
Yes.
semi-cartoon book, realistic comic book, realistic. You've got but more accurate than the stuff that came later. So there was I think Alien Force was one of them. Watched that for a bit. Went off that.
Ben 10 Alien Force, and then Ben 10 Ultimate.
Yeah, there's and then it got
wasn't there some kind of crossover Generator Rex or something
like that. But there was basically the art style with that. I mean, Ben 10's probably a really good time capsule for showing how that's happened. It's got worse and worse and worse, and then they've just done. I was seeing a really good video on Ben 10 over time. It's really really interesting, and it was talking about there's been one season of a new one that they've done, and they've said thus far it's been absolutely amazing. No, not season 1. It was season 2. Season 1 was awful. They got new writers in, new producers, new director. Season 2 was amazing. Apparently, it was very similar to the original, how it treated its audience, etc.
But why not just make a new show?
Yeah, you probably could.
It'd probably be better. It would be better than just rehashing the same old material. Because that's that's just again a common trend. The Predator versus Predator. Just make a new film.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem is that when they, for example, in comic books where they say that Thor, although admittedly, when I read it, I thought it was pretty good, where they did the transition from Thor being to male to female. I don't get why they didn't just make a new character, because surely the idea of a female god could be explored in such a female god of war, something that's never done in history, never done in reality, would be something that's could be really well explored with today's modern standards of different things.
That's true.
It could be a really good way to juxtapose it. Even perhaps take that god, send it into the past, and then get that god to kick some butt.
Fair enough. But I tell you one thing that I'm always impressed by. I never used to be into anime, but Japanese animation, it just puts cartoons and storytelling in the West to shame.
Yeah, I mean you've got the great classics like Death Note, which is one thing that people always send them to.
I prefer the Netflix adaptation.
Well, God, bad anime adaptations are a whole different can of worms. But yeah, Death Note's always the one that you want to show people to convince them that in Japan you can have a mature story told through animation.
What was your first anime?
Attack on Titan, and then Death Note right after.
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! It was probably Yu-Gi-Oh! first.
Well,
Yu-Gi-Oh! It was about the same time. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was the one I watched.
I
love Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Yeah, it was it was the Academy one where there was there was red, yellow and blue like class, and if you were good enough, you got moved up into the next class, and it was all about Yu-Gi-Oh! Moving up. Never got into the top one, and then I didn't watch it after that.
I feel old because I grew up with like the original Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, I grew up that as well. But GX, I got really into that.
Yeah. I think my first... I'm not even sure if it's considered an anime, because, again, a lot of these shows were just created to sell merchandise. Beyblades.
Oh, Beyblades. I remember when my cousin had the really terrible plastic.
The arena.
And I was pulling
Okay, so what we did as kids, Nick and Alex, if you're listening to this show, you'll remember this. Our neighbors and us, I don't know. As kids, we'd have tournaments. Like it was almost like an underground gambling ring of Beyblades, just among like 5 to 10-year-olds.
I want $10 on the pink one.
Just huddled around smoking cigarettes.
Pack of ciggies on the blue.
But the thing
is this how The Godfather's going to be remade?
It's true, just with Beyblades. So what we'd do is like we'd put up out, because I was horrible at Beyblades, but the way we sort of gamble is if you lost, you then had to give your Beyblades to the winner. And I lost all my Beyblades, and my brother got like a really, really nice one, like one of the metal ones, like really expensive Beyblades, and he lost it to our neighbor. It was an interesting childhood growing up in St Albans, Melbourne, Australia. Man. Trying to think what other Japanese anime is.
I stubbornly refuse to believe that Japanese animation is ever going to overtake the Western animation. I stubbornly refuse to believe that it's good. I think it's. I like making fun of it more.
Well, yeah, because you can get so many more memes. Especially.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. I mean,
the best memes are always anime.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of anime memes I've seen posted on your timeline earlier, and the fact that you're not what we call a weeb.
Yes, I'm not a weeb, but I am a meme shogun.
I mean, if you want a current anime that's its third season just finished up. My Hero Academia is a one that's good, that's popular at the moment.
That's such a guilty pleasure for me. I did not. Like every time they've dragged me out. They haven't dragged me out to watch anime. It was one of them. It was the arc where they were getting them to do internships. Yeah. Oh, that really hooked me. I got home and I just spat like the rest of the season. I just watched it all in one, even though the bits I already seen. Just watched the whole thing. That was such a guilty pleasure.
It's as the name suggests, it's a superhero show, and the concepts they have are very, very appealing. And as of the stereotype is that in Japan there's a school for everything. So obviously there's a school for heroes,
of course,
and that's how it's sent around. So it's I'd say maybe if you like sort of young superheroes, I suppose if you're a Teen Titans fan. I mean, if you're a superhero fan in general who's getting a bit sick of sort of the Marvel DC domination. So then it's a fresh take on the concept.
Marvel's better.
Marvel's better.
I don't know. I personally like to stick with Inuyasha. That was my that was the first like serious anime that me and my brother got into.
I don't know that one.
It's very good. We'll talk about it during the break, but I definitely recommend for you and for our listeners. And on that note, we have our next song, The Gambler. It's Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, I know.
From anime to westerns.
He's like a nice little blanket to wear.
He is.
His voice is a blanket.
I just want to sip hot cocoa and listen to Kenny Rogers serenade me to sleep. You are listening to Insanity Radio 103.2. This is Big Thoughts and Small Talk. Welcome back to Big Thoughts and Small Talk. I'm your host, Ilya Manovic. You are listening to Insanity Radio 103.2. That was Don Gibson, I Can't Stop Loving You. Such a sentimental song, especially after the week I've had. No, not particularly.
Come on, Elliot, no one cares about your personal problems.
Good. Good. Yeah. You shouldn't.
They're here to hear us talk about entertainment, so let's
get right to it. We're back to entertainment. So, Spider-Man. Have you guys either played or seen the new Spider-Man game?
I've seen. I have not played.
Seen, not played. Want to get it though.
I'm itching to get it for Christmas because it's like
Not sure if I can wait that long.
I know. I mean, I have my PS4 back in the United States, so I have to be.
I got my PS4 in my room.
Lucky boy. So yes, it looks amazing. It's like the Arkham Asylum, but for Spider-Man. And
for Marvel, really.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Especially after the disappointment that was Arkham Knight. So,
Arkham Knight wasn't that bad.
No.
Well,
it was just
story-wise, it was disappointing.
I mean,
but
spoiler alert: Arkham Knight's Jason Todd. It was just Under the Red Hood retold.
Yeah,
but the problem is the mechanics were just too much of a continuation. There wasn't enough innovation.
There was too much wrong with gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Batmobile is just.
Yeah.
I think the tank mode should probably have been something that was left to the end. So sort of Arkham Knight comes with a massive tank, and sort of like, what are you going to do? It's like, well, I had Lucius install a few upgrades.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, fine, one section, perfect.
That would have been a much better reveal if you just had that. But I mean, I didn't mind Arkham Knight, and I don't mind, like, personally, the thing that I hate about video games is when they have a foolproof system of gameplay, and then they add on something which just ruins it. I like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my sort of philosophy. But talking about Spider-Man, I am of the opinion, now you might prefer Homecoming, but I think that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, Spider-Man 1 to 3 with Tobey Maguire, are art house masterpieces.
They absolutely are. I was thinking, like, trying to remember them. I remember them being like really corny, classic like cartoon films. Rewatching them, it's art. It's absolute art.
You're not meant to watch it as a Spider-Man film.
No,
you're meant to watch it as this is Sam Raimi telling an awesome sort of just complex story, but it's also Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, it's such a balancing act, though.
Exactly.
There are so many things that he's holding up in the air that he then drops in 3 in a lot of places.
I disagree. I
think
think
them back up with good old JJ.
JJ, he doesn't want to be famous. I'll make him infamous. J.K. Simmons
born to play the role.
Born to play the infamous role or famous, whatever, however you see it.
The best role.
The best role in the film. I think.
No, not film. Like cinema.
In cinema ever.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have won an Oscar for Whiplash. He should have won an Oscar for that role.
No, an Oscar wouldn't be enough, I think.
No, it wouldn't have.
I mean, it's when in the course of human events do you find someone who is that perfect for a role except Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool? I haven't seen any, like, it's
Hugh
those
Jackman as
two.
Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman as well. It's like there are very few, and they all seem to be tied to superhero films.
Yeah.
True. I mean, well, they're the biggest franchises, so naturally. I mean,
no, it's nothing to do with that.
I can't. I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of, they're a continuous story.
Yeah, but it's something about superhero films. They're just really good at finding like the person in the right niche. It's probably because superheroes, the character, ends up being very niche.
It's true.
It's when you get that niche right, it just clicks, and it just
I disagree with you on one thing that you said before, though. Spider-Man 3 is by far the best Spider-Man film. I'll give you a couple reasons why.
Okay.
Number one, the duality of man. Tobey Maguire expertly shows his acting abilities when he's the mild-mannered, dorky Peter Parker. And then he goes into, just hyper sex drive. Jazz mode. I mean, that scene where he's walking down the street, just... that is my favourite scene in any film whatsoever.
Yeah, I get what it's trying to do. But the comedy just doesn't work because Tobey Maguire doesn't have the charisma.
So yeah, that's
why
the
the first
only
two
reason.
work. The first two worked because he didn't have the charisma that was required for those scenes. If he'd learnt it in the meantime, props to him. He did not learn it though.
But the thing is, I think that's what makes it 10 times better. Is like he doesn't have the charisma, but he's been forced into the situation where he has to, I don't know, just overhype it, and he overdoes it completely, and it works.
You know what? Actually, now that you said that, because it doesn't work, it does make it better.
Yes,
because it is Tobey Maguire.
So bad it's good.
The one who got bullied. Well, it's not even that it's so bad it's good. It's that it's good because it's bad. not in the same way that's bad because it's good, because bad is unintentional. It's almost as though Sam Raimi is this mastermind genius who realised Tobey Maguire doesn't have any charisma. No, he has some charisma, but he doesn't have enough charisma. This will work on like 5 different levels. And then years later, there'll be 3 guys sitting in a room talking about this film, and then they'll have one of them will have an epiphany. Or, well, epiphany inspired by our glorious host.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Want to write yourself into your own prophecies.
Yeah. Oh, always.
One of my favourite parts of the Spider-Man films is the Bruce Campbell cameos. They make the film, especially when he plays the French waiter, Becker.
Yeah. and also the security guard with Stanley. That's a nice little bit.
Yes.
Those two together. That is like when you like, it's like a multiverse of cameos with those cameos crossing over in the same film.
It's true. And another thing, with Spider-Man 2, that scene in the hospital really shows Sam Raimi's horror, because he was a horror director beforehand.
Yeah. Evil Dead, yeah.
It is intense.
It is.
And
with the scream face as well, with the nurse as she's about to get impaled by one of the...
And her, like, fingers, like, scratching across the floor. As a kid, when I saw that in the theaters, it freaked me out.
It was perfect. It did the classic thing that you see now all the time, like when there's, like, a car crash in a film, music cuts, then the thing happens.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi does that, and he does it before it's overused, and it works perfectly. He balances that perfectly.
It's true. Who was the actor that played Doc Ock?
Oh, I do not know.
Forget his name. He was perfect. I can't think of anyone else in the role. He was perfect.
I mean, he already kind of looks like him as well. All you have to do is give him the bowl cut thing.
That's true. That's true. If you ever want to get a woman to fall in love with you, read a poetry.
From that, I thought you just... I thought I was down a different route for that.
Yeah, I thought I was geting a genuine advice then. I forgot about that line.
It is also... I personally have used all my love life advice from Doc Ock.
I'll have to break out those Shakespearean sonnets, see how it goes.
It's true. It hasn't worked for me so far. I'm just going to say that. So our next song coming up is Ring of Fire by the glorious Johnny Cash. May he rest in peace, even though he's been dead for upwards of 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah, 14, I think, 2004-ish.
14 years.
2004, 2005-ish, yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, well. Maybe we'll be able to resurrect him with science.
Hopefully.
Sam Raimi, get on the job. All right, you are listening to Insanity Radio 103.2 FM.
Download the Insanity Radio app and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
Insanity Radio.
Insanity Radio.
Welcome back. This is Big Thoughts and Small Talk. We are almost closing in on the hour mark, which means that we're going to have to start wrapping things up, which, I could talk here all night with you two, honestly. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having us. We'd love to come back.
It's been a lot of fun.
No, definitely. I think I'll have you guys in the near future for the Sinatra special.
I will give a shout out to our lower listener, Marisol, who's been very active on the chat talking to Franklin.
Hi, Marisol.
Give us some great entertainment in between.
Yeah, I'm not talking to her anymore.
She's been blocked.
Marisol, Franklin now hates you. Don't worry. I still love you.
You've been blocked, you've been shunned and blacklisted by the number one person in the studio.
By the Franklin State Media.
I'm sure Elliot will invite you on, then you can vent about how much you
Maybe I should have a debate between you and Marisol about just random, I don't know, what should the topic
we
be?
literally argue about everything, so just say one thing. Like defending DC. What is that? DC? DC's not been good since Nolan.
Movie-wise, yeah, but I think overall I prefer the characters. Just generalized comic book.
All right, well, thank you all very much for listening to Big Thoughts and Small Talk. I've been your host, Ilya Manovic. Boys, do you want to say goodbye?
No. Okay. Well, bye. It's been Tom Franklin. Bye.
It's been Joe Combs, signing out.
Well, thank you very much, boys. You are listening to Insanity Radio 103.2. We are currently shutting things down, and to take us out is Marty Robbins, my personal favorite country western singer, with They're Hanging Me Tonight.